So I'm just going to get right into it. Earlier today I linked up with my boy Angel, discussed a couple different things. Mainly we was trying to go over budgeting and different things like that for the most part. We touched bases slightly on a little other things as far as velocity banking, but overall we just wanted to cover like the basics and the importance of budgeting. In the video you'll see how I use my personal experience and I pretty much broke down what was key for me when it came to just saving for something as big as a house. I started off with pretty much working out the numbers of my main source of income. When I say working out the numbers, I mean how much money I make without overtime and any type of side work and things of that nature from my primary source of income. Once I had that at the top list, I pretty much broke down my biggest expenses all the way down to my least expenses. Well, my boy Angel, he talks about in his examples how he helped find money with going over a budget for his friend, which is also important. So when we can find money, in essence, that allows us to have more money to spend or manage or play with. And then in other situations and for other people, we can actually make money appear in places that we thought may not have been possible to kind of free up our budget and give us more of a cushion. And I'll talk about that as well in the video, but when I say make money, I'm pretty much saying, eliminate some expenses so that you add to the amount of money you allotted to play with. So y'all go ahead and tune in. Y'all hit me up in the link, the comment section. Let me know if there's some things that I may have missed that may have worked for you, that's a basic tip that could work for others and things like that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget the notification button. Hit that notification bell. Once again, your boy Muciano signing out. So the goal is to like freely have conversation, because like a lot of times we be just having regular conversations like this, me and you. But then when we want to go on camera or something like that, it's so structured and put together where it's like it seems fake. It's scripted.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And I don't want scripted conversation, because at the end of the day we talking about like budgets, and then we talking about like human friends, human capital, reinvesting in yourself and stuff like that. And a lot of times, like when it comes to finances or when it comes to like even building your empire, we kind of wanna know where to start. So to me, where you start is there. You start with the budget. Like, why get a second job if you could tighten up what it is you're working with already and find that money?
I agree 110%, and that's what I was stressing. So speaking of instances and stories with certain people and stuff like that, that was the one thing that I was stressing with my brother-in-law. Is just the fact that he thought if I work another job, I'll make more money. My financial situation will get better. And I tried to stress to him, it's not the money aspect, it's the mind state. You change the mind state. And I just gave him a simple example. I said he's trying to save up to do his next investment. His next investment is he's going to need about 20 grand, right? So he said, it's going to take me maybe 2-3 years to save up this 20 grand. So I went ahead and I told him, I said, I'm just going to use this as a simple scenario. And the scenario was that I gave him the velocity banking PayPal method, and I basically showed him, I was like, look, I took a line of credit and turned it into $20,000 cash.
Now, when you say the velocity PayPal method, you about to go over that now, or how does that work?
I can go over that. So long story short,
you had to like explain it in like 30 seconds, do this, move here, do that.
So basically what I was getting at is he was telling me it was gonna take 2 to 3 years to save up the 20 grand in order to make his next investment.
Okay.
I told him, for me, just because of the understanding of financial literacy, and this is what I stress, the mind state, not the amount of money, but I understand financial literacy. So I explained to him that I'm able to take a line of credit, turn it into $20,000 cash, and not pay any interest on it. So
basically what you're saying is, let's slow down. So basically what you're saying is you have to have access to 20 grand of credit.
Yes.
So once you have access to 20 grand of credit, $20,000 worth of credit, you can now take that and turn it into cash through velocity banking.
Yes, through velocity banking. You don't even need to do velocity banking really to do it.
But you do have to have the
line of credit, exactly. Okay. And getting the line of credit for $20,000 is a lot easier than saving up $20,000.
Absolutely.
I would say for most people.
But now for most people, like in the time frame. So now for some people who don't have credit, the time frame the time frame that it'd take to save up, let's say $20,000. Let's say, for example, your brother-in-law, he said he could save that in 3 years.
Yeah.
But now for people that don't have credit, that kind of want to use the bank's money or that method.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'd take for them to build that?
To build it, that's a good question, and
But it's a factor too, right?
It is definitely a factor. I think as far as something like that, it's really it's individualized. I couldn't really say like for one person it may take them a short period of time, another person it's all different. But then that would be another thing as far as yet again mind state, going and researching, learning how to build your credit very fast. Then it doesn't really become that big of an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll give you the instance where when we were trying to get our house, my fiance, her credit was a little bit lower. I had credits with high limits. You know what I'm saying? So because even though her credit wasn't exactly what it needed to be, she knew somebody who had the credit that it needed to be. If you kind of get what I was saying.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and added her to my credit cards, shot her score up by at least 20 points or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just because I added her onto all those big credit cards. So there's ways around.
So now being that her credit score, let's say, shot up, would she be in turn? Would she be able to apply for her own credit cards now?
Of course,
and then use those credit scores, and then they'll give her a bigger limit.
Exactly.
So now, what happens if you got a credit card, or if you don't have big limits? What would you say would be a good method to increase your limits?
Well,
some
I would
people
say
they like to wait.
Yeah. See, for me, like for example, every credit card has its own rules and regulations.
Yeah.
But for me, for example, I understand that American Express, that's one card that I use most of my time, and for them it's every 6 months you call and make an increase. So literally I write on my calendar every 6 months
I'm making that phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll increase it. I mean, this was even when I first started with them. You'd be surprised to the limit that they would increase it. I mean, I first had the card. Maybe it was they approved me for, I don't know, maybe like $2,000, something like that. Even if you get a few $100, right?
Now, what I found, now with that, what you were saying, you could do that regardless of the financial situation or if you're using it or not.
Of course.
You just want to build it.
Of course.
So what I found that a lot of people, they be fearful, like they believe, and it's back to what you just said with the thinking. They believe that the credit card companies are going to do that on their own. Like, know what, such and such, Mr. Such and such, Miss Such and such. How about I give you some more money? And that don't usually be the case. So that's what I be trying to get like my friends and family understand. They be like, oh well, I'm not going to ask for an increase because they're going to do it when they're ready. Exactly. So I asked one of my friends recently. I said, we had the conversation and he was telling me basically, oh, they want to do it when they're ready. So I said, oh yeah. I said, how long you had that card? He says to me, I had about 5, 6 years, maybe 7. I said, oh yeah. So when's the last time they give you an increase? They said never.
Yeah.
I said, so when do you think they're going to be ready? If they wasn't ready in 5 or 6 years?
They might now. This is yet again changing the mind state. If you're using Velocity Banking with the credit card, then there's the potential that the credit card company will reach out to you and say, hey, we see that you've been using the card tremendously, we'll increase your limit. But even then, it's still not written in stone. But the Velocity Banking, so that's another thing that you could go ahead and look up. And with that, like I said, it shows the constant flow of, I'm gonna summarize just a brief part of it. It's just paying your bills with the credit cards and things like that. So then you're using the credit card to pay bills, then you're putting the money on that you would have paid the bills onto the credit card. So they see that consistent flow of cash being used and exchanged. So these are ways that necessarily you don't have to make any more money. You could just simply be paying your bills, and it'll show that you're utilizing credit, and in turn that transmutes into building higher amounts because the credit cards companies will see that you.
I wanna slow it down for a second because I feel like the Velocity Banking, it seems like it could be a little more complex. Depending on the level. Not only a level. It's not about a level of thinking because we all think on our own different ways.
Yes.
But on a level of being financially educated.
Yes, financial literacy is key. Is definitely key.
So I think on a journey to becoming financial literate.
Okay.
You also have to learn how to make your money work for you.
Of course.
So that'll bring you back to the basics of budgeting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Dealing with what you have to make it do is best for you in your situation. Exactly. Until you're able to obtain more.
Of course.
And then on that journey of learning money through budgeting, that's when you could kind of cross certain bridges or get to certain points where now velocity banking makes more sense.
Yes.
Because if you don't know budgeting, you can't even
no.
velocity banking.
That's what we were saying as far as that would be very dangerous to do. That'd be very dangerous to do.
And even with that, so we talked about you had mentioned risk factors.
Yes.
Very risky opposed to no risk at all.
Yes.
So now my belief is they say, the higher the risk, the higher the reward.
Yes.
Don't believe that, but we want it's a gray area there.
Yeah,
I do believe that to an extent.
It's subjective.
But what you said, exactly, so what you said was very risky compared to no risk at all. I believe everything is going to have some type of risk.
Yes.
You limit those risks based on knowledge and education.
I agree.
It still may be high, very risky.
Exactly.
But they become more limited. And I'm speaking from a gambler, I'm in the casinos and things like that. So you know what I mean? Even the money that I'm betting, it increases the risk, but it also increases the reward.
Yeah.
So anyway, so getting back to budgeting. So I know for me when it first came time for me to actually put together a budget, I started off with my cash flow. How much money am I bringing into the house?
Of course.
You know what I mean? For a lot of us, the amount of money that we bring in from the house is just based on the job.
Yeah.
It's not with side jobs. It's not with side business. It's not with side hustles. It's a consistent cash flow. So now, and you don't include overtime, double time, sick, whatever. You don't even look at how much money you made last year. You look at how much I'm making a week. Bi-weekly, monthly, however you may be getting paid, and you want to break it down as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
So now that you have the overall overhead, let's say, for lack of a better term, once you have the overhead of how much money you're bringing in, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, let's say monthly, then you can start going into your bills. How much the cell phone bill is going to cost, how much the car insurance, the car payments, how much is the rent is going to cost. So now once you got those basic bills, I know for me when I bought my house, and I just part of what I was able to do was I started with the big bills. So for me, all right, so now I got the overall overhead of how much money I'm bringing into the house. So now from there, I talk about what's the biggest bill a month. Usually that's rent, big bill. So it was because we're gonna get back to that too. So what I did was I broke down rent. So now I got rent. So then I look at my finances, or I look at the bills again. What's the next biggest bill? At the time it was my car insurance. And then after that it fell in line with my car payment. And then after that, and maybe it was flip-flop. Maybe it was car payment then insurance. I don't really remember, but I know they was neck and neck. And it was one. But I wanted to break those down, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. So it was rent, car payment, car insurance, let's say food or whatever. Those are the three majors. Let's just talk about the three majors. The food, you can kind of budget.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I stress when I'm putting together a budget for somebody. It's just the fact that, like we said, the fundamentals. That whole analogy of if you're going to build the Empire State Building, then you need to have a strong foundation. Having a budget is like the key, major. Like you can't do any of this other financial investments or anything like that until you understand how a budget works. And the biggest problem is that most of people in America today treat their checking and savings like my checking. Hey, as long as I'm putting enough into my checking account that as long as I'm putting more in my checking account than I'm spending, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? And we don't really look at where all this money is kind of going. We don't keep track of it. Exactly. So
it's not even the fact. It ain't even a matter of as long as I'm putting the money in. Which, from what you're saying, you're basically saying, but when it's coming out, where's it going?
Exactly. So that's what I'm kind of trying to emphasize, because like I said, when I've sat down and spoke with people as far as going over their budgets and stuff like that, they couldn't really understand having a friend that was trying to work a second job to cover all his debt and stuff like that, sitting down and going through his budget, and it will amaze you the money you will find, not working anything extra. Literally after going over his budget, he quit his second job. I mean, literally just going through your budget and saying, wow, you know what? I make $5,000. I make $1,000 and I only spend $500. Where's the rest of the money going? And we don't realize it. It could be something so simple as, eating out a little too much. So the money, I would say it was just, honestly, the lack of keeping track of where each dollar is going. It's to me, it kind of baffles me to the degree that it's like we treat the checking and savings, like I said, just the two, and we don't emphasize on learning anything more about it. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, though, what we fail to realize is like people who we treat the checking account as if we're rich, that we just go ahead and dump money in there, don't even think about where the money's going, and we just spend however we want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people are worse than others, but still the lack of monitoring where the money is going. So long story short, back to what you were saying as far as so where do we find the money? It honestly, it was a little mixture of kind of everything, and it was something so simple as 1 month maybe he spent a little too much and didn't realize it, and because he did that and he did not know that he went over, that the following month it affected him, but he didn't notice it because like I said, it may be something so small as you set yourself back $20 to $100 that month, and if you're living like that for years, imagine what that can accumulate to.
Yeah.
So 1 month sent you back $20, next month sent you back $100, and it's slowly growing and you don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's basically what happened with him. So then long story short, when we went through it, we were finding things, like I said, he made a lot more than what his bills were. So that's where we were able to structurize a budget, and you know what? For example, for him, he takes out his budget. Maybe for the week is $100 for food. He takes out $100 cash. He knows that if he's going anything over $100, he needs to take it from his spending money or his extra
money.
Exactly. The problem is that we take, because we treat our checking account just like a pot that we could just go ahead and take out. Exactly. We take our bill money out of it. We take our spending out of it. We mix everything together. You know, the business and pleasure is all in one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what we don't realize is the fact that these things need to be separated.
Yes.
You know, because what happens is, let's say for that month you don't have extra. You think you do, but you don't, because yet again you're not monitoring.
My mentality is no such thing as extra.
Exactly. So. But anyway, what I'm just trying to get at though is that you may be taking out money now that was really meant to go towards another bill.
Yeah.
And again, it's not structured, so you don't know where all the money's supposed to be going. When you do that, that's when you're assigning a job to all the money, and you know.
So I remember last year when I was kind of putting my thing together, and you and I were talking.
Yeah.
All right. So granted, you could look at your overall income for the month.
Yeah.
While constructing a budget. And then you could kind of like break it down and then from there find out where's, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, where's the extra money going.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But now,
it's amazing.
But now once we make those cuts from where the extra money or the play money is coming from, or whatever the case may be, what I learned from last year is that we also can create extra money or sources of income. We can actually eliminate some things.
Of course.
So I was in a position where I had an option, and you and I talked about it. It was a car.
Yeah.
So at the time, I still was doing car payments, and then I also was paying full coverage insurance. So what I decided was I need to cut this full coverage insurance, because now my insurance drops from about $300, $250 a month. And I could put like basic insurance on a car that I'm barely driving anyway, and haven't had any accidents or anything in years or whatever that I was going through the insurance for, and I could pay $80, or let's to keep the numbers even, $250 or $50. So now, but before I get there, I gotta pay off my car. So what I did was I took some money that I was able to, because I was fortunate enough to have it saved up, and I paid off the car faster. So when I paid off the car, I spent some money that I probably could have used for something else, but at the same time, now it's mine. And because it's mine, I was able to go to my insurance company and say, listen, I don't want that full coverage no more. You know, I don't want to spend $250. I want to put the basic on there and spend $50. So now I eliminated a car payment at $300.
Yep.
I eliminated I cleared $200 extra from my budget of insurance. So now it's an extra $400 a month that I obtained, that's no longer. Now, granted, I might have paid $4,000, you know, to pay off my car or whatever
in a certain amount of time.
In 10 months.
Exactly.
In 10 months, that $4,000 is back.
Exactly.
And after that 10 months, it's all profit.
Exactly.
It's all positive
money
side.
Back in your pocket.
And that's just, you know, and for me, it wasn't as much as $4,000 or whatever the case may be. And for, you know, people out there that's probably going to hear this conversation, it may not be that. But it's just like you just said earlier. The mentality.
Exactly.
You know, where can I make money? Where can I make changes so that more money is coming in, or more money is freed up?
Exactly.
That's already coming in, because a lot of times that's what it's about. It's about freeing up money.
Exactly.
You know, our money be tied up with lunch. Our money be tied up with gym memberships. That people
Yeah.
barely, you go to the gym once a month,
Yeah,
but you sit here and
exactly,
still paying.
exactly.
And if you have Planet Fitness, you might be thinking like, oh, it's $20, but it's $20.
Exactly. And
That's $200 in 10 months. That's $200.
when you do a budget and you really are able to evaluate all your expenses, not just like as they come, you know, oh, this comes up, I gotta pay it, oh, this comes up, I gotta pay it, but really looking at everything in its entirety, it'll really allow you to prioritize. Do I really need this? Do I not really need this? When you really start to see the chunk that you're paying, you know, and I emphasize to people, what's the worst that could happen if you really sit down and do a budget? You know what I'm saying? You'll either see, because some people want to be either in denial and say that, oh, I already, you know, I have my finances well put together. Well, worst thing that could happen is that you look and you say, you know what? Okay, I did the budget. I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it can never hurt you. It's only beneficial.
And it's tightening up the belt. Like, cause I know for me, like before I made that leap, like, cause I had the money set up. We were looking, and you know, we was talking about the house and things like that. And I had a plan, and I knew that me paying off the car would. Well, I thought that paying off the car would set me back. But actually, it actually propelled me. Like, it actually sprung me forward. So what it
You're heading
did
out
was,
with the car too, right? Now it's finally profit. You know, you're getting your money.
The thing is, it's no longer an expense where it has to come out.
Exactly.
You know. So what happened was, I kind of took 2 steps back, whatever, to spring 10 steps forward.
There you go.
And that's kind of what happened. So you know, it was crazy because it's like, oh wow, the money keeps coming.
Exactly.
You know, and I had a reminder on my phone where it was like, your car payment is due, your insurance is due, and it showed me how much money I was paying. I think I was paying, like, my car payment at the time, I think it was like $296 a month.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'm only knowing these numbers because it was either the car payment or the insurance. But I know one of them I was paying at a month, because I still to this day get that pop up on my phone, and I laugh to the bank knowing that I'm keeping that money in my pocket.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, with creating a budget, it's going to feel like that. Like, it's going to feel, in my opinion, that you're taking those 2 steps back.
Of course.
But you kind of got to know on the back end, you're going to be springing 2 steps forward.
I emphasize on just the concept that in order to be truly comfortable, you have to get uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm uncomfortable being comfortable.
Exactly. That's perfect. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is that, you know, some people are just like, this is how I've been doing my money for so long. I want to, you know, do it this way, and that's it. And I mean, to a degree, they don't realize they're really their own worst enemy. You know, you have to be open-minded to these concepts, and you know, like I said, we talked about it's all about it comes back to every time the mentality.
So like if you had to tell somebody, right?
Okay.
I'm just an average Joe on the street, and you're telling me how, you know, you helped your friend with a budget and you found them money places. Yeah. So if I'm an average Joe, negative Nancy, and I'm like, Angel, like, what's the purpose of a budget? What was your response to me?
My response would be your dollar should be doing some type, you know, should be working for you. So what I'm just basically saying is, do you know where every single one of your dollars is going? And 9 times out of 10, the person who doesn't have a budget doesn't really.
So digging in the pot.
my answer would just simply be, so you know where every single one of your dollars is going. You know, and that's typically where you find the extra money. You know.
All right, devil advocate. Why do I want to know? Why do I want to know where my money's going? Because you got those guys. You know it. You know these guys.
It's definitely true. It's to those people, yet again, they're their own worst enemies, because intelligence mixed with arrogance creates ignorance. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my biggest thing. It's just the fact that it's like, you know, I kind of have to humble myself at times too, and be open-minded to what someone may have to, you know, brings forth as far as whatever knowledge it may be.
Yeah.
So to those people, I would say, they're their own worst enemy, and just give it a try as far as being open-minded once, and you would see, like I said, the type of knowledge and how financially ahead it will get you, you know? Yeah,
I know like for me, when I first started thinking about budget and put one together, it actually was a conversation I had with my older brother.
Okay.
And it was years ago, and just that small conversation with him kind of opened up the doors for everything else.
Yeah.
And his whole idea was, because I was the negative Nancy. I was like, you know, Jimmy, I don't need that. Like, I'm good. I'm just keep spending this money as it comes. Like, I'm all right. You know what I mean? And he's like, listen, that's not what it is. And pretty much in a nutshell, what he was basically telling me was, you could be so much better off allocating your money to different assignments like you said, like knowing where it's going.
Of course.
He said, so now when you kind of know where it's going, it allows you to have a nest egg to do other things that you want to do.
Of course.
Without having to worry about how you're going to get there or how you're going to get this money or where's the money going to come from. You actually get to see it.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he said from there, he's like, it could be something, he told me it could be something as small as you want to be a new pair of sneakers. Or you know, a leather jacket that might cost, you know, $1,500. Whatever it may be. It could be something small or it could be something large.
Of course.
But what he basically was saying to me was, as you start to master that budget and as you start to master how to plan for a budget, that whatever it is you're budgeting towards or whatever it is that your nest egg may be building towards is going to get larger.
Of course.
And that's what it started off. You know, it started off as a few pair of sneakers, maybe some designers. You know, a jacket, a car, an apartment, and now a house, and businesses, and so on and so forth. So, you know, so to that negative Nancy, you know what I mean, who I was at the time, it was like, I'll tell me personally, I'll tell them that. Like, it could be something small. You know, right now, you may be spending your money little places, so it don't really matter to you. But as you want more, it could be something as simple as a trip. As you want more, and it's gonna require you to kind of like save towards it. Then you know that's kind of what you want to do, and then even like you know eventually building credit and stuff like that. You kind of want to have that mentality as well to be mindful of what you're spending the money.
You know.
The mind is limitless in my opinion. Be the one that puts you know limits on it. You know, that's why I always recommend you know people to read and things like that. I know you had a couple books that you like. I like the Rich Dad Poor Dad and
Rich
stuff.
Dad Poor Dad is definitely. I mean that I would say that's definitely the first thing you should read if you want to even kind of walk into the direction of financial literacy, and then from there you'll be able to branch out. And it definitely sets you up with baby steps as far as things that you know he speaks about. You know, if you're very interested, going ahead and taking certain courses, classes, seminars, things like that. You know, so I think that's definitely like that's the first book to read. You know, people being comfortable with reading. You know,
it's an easy read. It's an easy read too, and now that just the Robert Kiyosaki series in general, they've been around for so long. They have so many audio books and they have so many different breakdowns. I seen someone on the internet recently where they kind of even broke it down into slides where it was like 5 minutes breaking it down. You know, so but you got to start somewhere.